The gunshot cracked through the night like thunder. Jae-Min didn't flinch. He'd heard 1,000 bullets sing their deadly songs in the Busan Port District, but this one felt different.
Wrong.
His hand hovered over the Glock tucked inside his tailored black coat as shipping containers groaned in the salt-heavy wind. Blood pooled at his feet, not his own, never his own. The Russian smuggler lay sprawled across the concrete, eyes still wide with the surprise of betrayal. Jae-Min's second-in-command, Min-ho, was already dragging the body toward the water when it happened. A baby's cry.
Thin.
Desperate. Cutting through the industrial darkness, like a blade through silk. Jae-Min froze. Every muscle in his body locked. In 15 years of running the most feared Korean syndicate in East Asia, he'd never heard that sound here. Not in his territory. Not during an exchange. Not when millions in contraband weapons sat in Container 47B waiting for distribution.
Boss.
Min-ho's voice carried confusion and warning. We need to move. But Jae-Min was already walking. His Italian leather shoes clicked against wet pavement as he followed the sound. Past the crane. Past the forklift. Past the stacked containers that formed a metal maze of shadows and secrets. The crying grew louder. More insistent. It clawed at something buried deep in his chest, something he'd locked away 3 years ago when she left. When Amahle disappeared without a word, Container 23F stood slightly ajar. Jae-Min pulled his weapon, nodded to Min-ho, and yanked the metal door wide. The crying exploded in volume. There, in a plastic carrier seat, wrapped in a pink blanket that looked too clean for this filthy place, was a baby. Maybe 3 months old. Her skin was a beautiful blend of dark brown and golden undertones, her tiny fists pumping air as she wailed. But it wasn't the baby that made Jae-Min's world tilt on its axis. It was the necklace.
Silver.
Delicate. A small elephant charm hanging from the chain wrapped loosely around the baby's blanket. Jae-Min had bought that necklace in Cape Town 4 years ago. He'd clasped it around Amahle's neck himself, his fingers trembling because he'd never felt that way about anyone. She'd smiled that devastating smile that made him forget he was a monster. She'd kissed him and promised forever. Then she'd vanished like smoke. His hand shook as he reached for the baby. The moment his fingers touched her, she stopped crying. Those eyes. Deep brown. Intelligent. She looked at him like she knew him. Like she'd been waiting. Boss, we have company. Min-ho's urgent whisper snapped him back. 3 vehicles. Coming fast. Jae-Min scooped up the carrier. That's when he saw the note tucked beneath the blanket. His blood turned to ice as he read the neat handwriting he'd recognize anywhere. Protect her. They're coming for her mother.
I'm sorry.
I love you. Always did. If you're feeling what Jae-Min's feeling right now, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what happens next. Drop a comment telling me if you think Amahle is still alive. Now, let's see how deep this goes. The baby.
His baby.
It had to be. The timeline matched. The features matched. That elephant necklace was the key to everything. But if this was his daughter, why was she here? Where was Amahle? And who the hell was coming? Min-ho grabbed his arm. Boss, we move now or we die here. Jae-Min's brain shifted into combat mode. Get the cargo to the secondary location. Take Park and Lee. I'm taking the baby. You're taking a baby? Min-ho's eyes widened. Boss, we're in the middle of a... That's an order. Jae-Min's voice carried the weight of absolute authority. And find out who knew about tonight's exchange. Someone set this up. The next 15 minutes were chaos. Jae-Min's Mercedes AMG G63 roared through Busan's industrial district, the baby carrier secured in the passenger seat. She'd started crying again, and each wail felt like a knife twisting in his gut. He made 3 calls. The first to his personal doctor. The second to his intelligence officer. The third to the one person he trusted with his life, his cousin Hannah. Jae-Min, it's 2 a.m. I need you at the Gangnam safe house.
Now.
And bring everything for a baby. 3 months old. Girl. Silence. Then, what did you do? Just come. Please. 30 minutes later, Jae-Min stood in his fortified penthouse overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. Hannah burst through the door carrying bags from a 24-hour convenience store, her designer pajamas and hastily thrown-on coat making her look like a very fashionable disaster victim. "Where is she?" Hannah demanded. Jae-Min gestured to the leather sofa where the baby lay in her carrier, finally quiet, studying the ceiling lights with intense focus. Hannah approached slowly, then gasped. "Jae-Min, she looks like—" "I know. Is she yours?" "I think so. The necklace. It's Amelie's." Hannah's face softened. She'd been there 3 years ago when Jae-Min had descended into months of dark fury after Amahle vanished. She'd watched him tear apart Seoul looking for answers that never came. She'd held him that one night when he'd finally broken, something she'd never tell anyone. "What do you need me to do?" Hannah asked, already preparing a bottle. "Take care of her while I find Amahle." The baby started crying again. Hannah picked her up with practiced ease, bouncing gently. But the crying intensified. Jae-Min stepped closer, and the baby's hand shot out, grabbing his finger with surprising strength. The crying stopped instantly. Those brown eyes locked onto his. "She knows you," Hannah whispered. "Babies know their parents." Something cracked open in Jae-Min's chest. A feeling he'd thought died with Amale's disappearance. He touched the baby's cheek with one calloused finger. "What's her name, little one?" As if in answer, he noticed another note pinned inside the carrier. His hand shook as he unfolded it. "Her name is Zuri. It means beautiful in Swahili. She has your stubbornness and my spirit. Keep her safe. Keep her away from your world. I'm sorry I couldn't stay. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you. Forgive me."
Zuri.
Beautiful. His daughter's name was Zuri. The secure phone on his coffee table buzzed. Min-ho's name flashed across the screen. Jae-Min answered on the first ring. "Talk to me." The vehicles at the port belonged to Iron Serpents. Min-ho's voice was grim. "They're asking questions, boss."
About the baby.
"They know." The Iron Serpents, a rival syndicate from Incheon, brutal and ambitious. They'd been testing Jae-Min's borders for months, looking for weakness. But how did they know about Zuri? Who's their source? Jae-Min demanded. "Working on it. But boss, there's more. We found surveillance footage from the port. Someone left that baby there exactly 20 minutes before our exchange. Like they knew our schedule." Jae-Min's jaw tightened.
Inside job.
"Has to be. And boss, I ran the necklace. Amale's phone last pinged 3 days ago in Daegu. A clinic. Then nothing.
Daegu.
2.5 hours from Seoul." Jae-Min looked at Zuri, now sleeping peacefully in Hannah's arms. "Double security here. No one in or out except you and Hannah. I want surveillance on every clinic in Daegu. Hospital records, patient lists, everything. And Min-ho? Find out what the Iron Serpents want with my daughter." "Already on it, boss." Jae-Min ended the call. Hannah was watching him with worried eyes. "You're going after her." "I never stopped looking." The admission cost him. "I just didn't know where to look. Now I do. And if it's a trap, then I walk into it anyway." He moved to the window, staring out at the city he controlled through fear and respect. "She left me our daughter, Hannah. She trusted me to protect Zuri. That means she's in trouble. Real trouble. The kind even she couldn't handle alone." By dawn, Jae-Min had mobilized his entire network. 30 of his best people scattered across Daegu, showing Amale's photo to clinic staff, bribing hospital administrators, hacking medical databases. He operated from the safe house, Zuri sleeping in a bassinet Hannah had somehow procured, monitoring 6 different computer screens while his daughter's soft breathing provided a strange soundtrack to a criminal investigation. "Boss." His intelligence officer, a thin man named Cho, appeared on the video call. "I found something. 3 days ago, a woman matching Amale's description was admitted to a private clinic in Daegu. Severe injuries. Defensive wounds. She checked out against medical advice after 4 hours." Jae-Min's blood ran cold. Injuries from what? The attending nurse said it looked like she'd been in a fight, or running from one. Where did she go? That's where it gets interesting. Security footage shows her getting into a black sedan. No plates. But I enhanced the image. Cho's screen shared a grainy photograph. Look at the driver. Jae-Min leaned closer. His entire world stopped. The driver's profile was unmistakable. Sharp features. That specific scar above the left eyebrow. Sang-woo. His older brother.
No.
The word came out strangled. No, that's not possible. Hannah looked up from feeding Zuri. What is it? Jae-Min couldn't speak. His mind was racing, puzzle pieces clicking together in a picture so ugly it made him sick. Sang-woo had been exiled 5 years ago after trying to stage a coup. Their father had banished him rather than kill him, a mercy that had nearly torn the family apart. Jae-Min had taken over as head of the syndicate. Sang-woo had disappeared. But if Sang-woo was with Amahle, if he'd known about her all along. Get me everything on Sang-woo's movements for the last 3 years. Jae-Min ordered Cho. Every sighting, every transaction, every breath. And someone get my father on the phone.
Now.
20 minutes later, Jae-Min's father's face filled the screen. Kim Tae-jin looked every bit the retired crime lord he was, silver hair immaculate, eyes sharp despite his 70 years. My son, you look troubled. Where is Sang-woo? Jae-Min didn't waste time on pleasantries. His father's expression flickered. Just for a moment. But Jae-Min caught it. Your brother is not your concern. He has Amahle. Silence. Long and heavy. Then, the African woman? The woman I loved. Jae-Min's voice was steel. The mother of my child.
Yes.
That woman. His father's face hardened. You have a child?
A daughter.
3 months old. Someone left her at my exchange point last night with the warning that they're coming for her mother. Now I find out Sang-woo has been with Amahle. So I'll ask again, father. Where is my brother? Kim Tae-jin's silence spoke volumes. When he finally spoke, his voice carried the weight of old sins. Sang-woo approached me 2 years ago. He said he'd found something that could destabilize your leadership. He said there was a woman. A foreign woman who'd infiltrated our organization through you. Jae-Min felt reality shift beneath his feet. What did you do? I told him to handle it. Handle it how? I didn't ask questions I didn't want answers to.
Rage.
Pure, incandescent rage flooded through Jae-Min. You had her taken. You had Amahle kidnapped. I had a potential threat neutralized. His father's voice was cold. She disappeared from your life. You recovered. The organization remained stable. It was necessary. Necessary? Jae-Min's voice dropped to a deadly whisper. She was pregnant. With your granddaughter. For the first time in Jae-Min's life, he saw his father flinch. I didn't know. Didn't know or didn't care? Jae-Min's hand curled into a fist. Where's she? Where is Amahle? I don't know. Sang-woo was supposed to send her back to Africa. I gave him money for a plane ticket. I thought. You thought wrong. Jae-Min ended the call. Hannah stood frozen, Zuri cradled against her chest. Jae-Min, your own family is built on lies and blood. I know. He moved to the window, needing air even though he was 40 floors up. I need to think. But thinking was impossible because his phone exploded with notifications. Minho's panicked voice burst through the speaker. Boss, Iron Serpents just hit 3 of our locations simultaneously. They're declaring war. They're saying they want the child or they'll burn Seoul to the ground. The trap was closing. Jae-Min could feel it. Sang-woo wouldn't have shown himself in that security footage by accident. His brother wanted him to know. Wanted him to understand that everything Jae-Min loved could be taken away. The Iron Serpents were just pawns in a bigger game. Fortify all positions, Jae-Min ordered. Pull everyone in. I want a meeting with Iron Serpent's leadership. Tonight. Boss, they'll kill you. Let them try. The meeting was set for midnight at a neutral location, an abandoned warehouse in Incheon that served as Switzerland for criminal negotiations. Jae-Min arrived with 4 guards, knowing full well it might be his last night alive. The Iron Serpent's leader, a scarred man named Park Jin-woo, sat across from him at a rusted table. You have something that belongs to us. Park said without preamble. A 3-month-old baby belongs to you? Jae-Min's voice stripped sarcasm. Interesting business model. Don't play stupid. Your brother offered us a deal. The child for territory. Specifically, all of Gangnam. So that was Sang-woo's play. Use Suri as leverage to force Jae-Min into giving up his most profitable district. When Jae-Min refused, the Iron Serpents would eliminate him, and Sang-woo would step in as the new leader, already having negotiated peace. My brother doesn't speak for me, Jae-Min said calmly. And you're not getting my daughter. Park leaned forward. Then you're declaring war? I'm declaring that if you come near my family again, I'll erase your entire organization from existence. Jae-Min stood. Tell Sang-woo he picked the wrong allies. The drive back to Seoul was tense. Min-ho kept checking the mirrors. That went well. It went exactly as expected. Jae-Min's mind was already 3 moves ahead. Sang-woo wants me to waste resources fighting the Iron Serpents while he moves against me from the inside. He's counting on me being distracted. What's the play? We find Amahle before he does anything else to her. She's the key. If Sang-woo's been holding her for 3 years, there's a reason. He needs her for something. Back at the safe house, Hannah met him at the door with troubled eyes. Suri has a fever. The doctor's coming, but Jae-Min, she's asking for you. Every time I put her down, she cries. Jae-Min rushed to the bassinet. Suri's tiny face was flushed, her breathing rapid. The moment he picked her up, she settled, her hot cheek pressing against his chest. Something primal awakened in him. This was his child, his blood, his responsibility. And somewhere out there, her mother was suffering because of his family's sins. I'm going to fix this, he whispered to Suri. I promise you, little one. I'm going to bring your mother home. The doctor arrived within minutes, examined Suri, and declared it a mild viral infection. Nothing serious. But as Jae-Min held his daughter, while the doctor administered gentle care, his phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. A video file. His blood turned to ice as he opened it. The footage was grainy, but unmistakable.
Amahle.
Chained to a chair in what looked like a basement. Her beautiful face was bruised, her arm in a makeshift sling. But her eyes, God, those eyes still burned with the fierce spirit he'd fallen in love with. Then Sang-woo stepped into frame. Hello, little brother. His voice was smooth, mocking. I believe you have something of mine. Or should I say, something that should have been mine. Your empire. Your respect. Your life. 3 years ago, Father chose you over me. Again. So, I decided to take something you loved. Sang-woo's hand caressed Amahle's shoulder. She jerked away, disgust clear on her face. She's quite remarkable, your African princess, Sang-woo continued. Strong. Stubborn. She actually thought she could escape. 3 times she tried. 3 times I brought her back. But then she got pregnant and everything changed. She became desperate. Dangerous. The camera zoomed closer to Amahle's face. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but her voice was steady when she spoke. Jae-Min, if you're watching this, don't come. It's a trap. He wants you to. Sang-woo's hand clamped over her mouth. No spoilers, darling. He looked directly into the camera. You have 24 hours, brother. Bring me Suri and sign over your territories, or I kill Amahle. Oh, and don't bother trying to find me. I've learned from the best. You taught me well. The video ended. Jae-Min stood frozen, Suri sleeping against his shoulder, the phone trembling in his hand.
Hannah grabbed his arm.
What do we do? We end this. His voice was eerily calm. Min-ho, trace that video. I don't care if he routed it through 100 servers. Find the source. Cho, pull every piece of surveillance footage from Taegu for the last 3 years. Sang-woo can't hide that well. Someone's seen him. Someone knows. Boss, even if we find him, he'll kill her the moment we breach, Min-ho argued. Then we don't breach. We make him come to us. Hannah's eyes widened. You're going to give him what he wants. I'm going to make him think I am. Jae-Min's smile was cold. And then I'm going to destroy him. The next 18 hours were a blur of preparation. Jae-Min spread word through criminal channels that he was willing to negotiate. He contacted the Iron Serpents and offered them a temporary truce. He leaked information that he was broken, desperate, willing to give up everything for Amahle. Every move was calculated to draw Sang-woo into the open. Meanwhile, his tech team worked around the clock. Cho was brilliant. Within 12 hours, he traced the video to a server in Daegu, then to a physical location. An industrial building on the outskirts of the city, owned by a shell company that traced back to one of their father's old fronts. He's using father's resources, Cho reported. Has been for years. That's how he stayed hidden. Jae-Min's jaw clenched. His father's complicity went deeper than he'd thought. But there was no time for family drama now. He studied the building schematics, memorizing every entrance, every window, every possible escape route. We go in quiet, he told his assembled team. 15 of our best. Suppressors only. Sang-woo will have hostiles inside, probably 20 to 30. We split into 3 teams. Team A secures the perimeter. Team B creates a distraction at the east entrance. Team C goes in through the underground maintenance tunnel and gets Amahle. And you? Min-ho asked. I walk in the front door with Zuri. Absolutely not. Hannah's voice was sharp. You are not using that baby as bait. I'm not. But Sang-woo needs to see her. Needs to believe I'm complying. It's the only way to keep Amahle alive long enough for the extraction. And if something goes wrong, then you take Zuri and run. There's an emergency fund in the Cayman account. Passports under assumed names. You disappear. You raise my daughter away from all of this. Hannah's eyes filled with tears. Don't talk like that. I'm a realist. Jae-Min strapped on his shoulder holster, checked his weapons. But I'm also her father, and I will not let my daughter grow up without her mother if I can prevent it. At sunset, they moved. 3 vehicles, 15 men, 1 baby girl who slept peacefully, unaware her father was about to walk into hell for her mother. The industrial building loomed against the darkening sky. Jae-Min approached alone, carrying Zuri in his arms, Min-ho's voice in his earpiece, providing updates. Team A in position. Team B ready. Team C entering the tunnels now. Jae-Min reached the main entrance. The door swung open before he could knock. One of Sang-woo's men, heavily armed, gestured him inside. The warehouse interior was massive, mostly empty except for concrete pillars and old machinery. And there, in the center, lit by a single overhead light, was Amahle. She looked worse in person. Thinner. Haunted. But when her eyes found his across that distance, when she saw Zuri in his arms, her face transformed. Hope. Anguish. Love. All of it crashed across her features in waves. Jae-Min, she whispered, and the sound of his name on her lips after 3 years nearly broke him. Sang-woo emerged from the shadows, smiling. How touching. The happy family reunited. Did you bring the documents? Jae-Min kept his voice steady. Let her go first. Do I look stupid? Documents. Now. Jae-Min, don't. Amahle pleaded. He'll kill us anyway. Take Zuri and go. I'm not leaving you again. The words came from somewhere deep in his soul. Never again. Sang-woo laughed. How noble. How pointless. He pulled a gun, aimed it at Amahle's head. The documents, or I paint these walls with her brains. Team C is 30 seconds out. Min-ho's voice crackled in Jae-Min's ear. Jae-Min reached slowly into his jacket. They're here. But I want her released first. You're not in a position to negotiate. Actually, I am. Jae-Min's voice hardened. Because you need me alive to sign those territories over. Legal transfers require my signature. Kill Amahle, and I'll force you to kill me too. Then you get nothing. Sang-woo's smile faltered. In that moment of hesitation, everything happened at once. The east side of the building exploded. Not literally, but Team B breached with flashbangs and smoke grenades, creating chaos. Sang-woo's men scattered, shouting, confused. Gunfire erupted. Jae-Min dropped to his knees, shielding Zuri with his body as bullets whined overhead. Team C has the package, Min-ho shouted. Through the smoke, Jae-Min saw them. Two of his best operatives cutting Amelie's chains, pulling her toward the maintenance tunnel. She fought them, screaming his name, trying to get to him and Zuri. Sang-woo roared in fury. He swung his gun toward Amelie's retreating form. Jae-Min didn't think. He drew his weapon and fired. The shot went wide. Sang-woo ducked behind a pillar. "You always were a terrible shot under pressure," Sang-woo called out. Jae-Min was already moving. Zuri clutched against his chest, running for cover behind a rusted forklift. His team was engaging Sang-woo's forces throughout the warehouse. The sound of gunfire was deafening. Zuri started crying, her small body shaking with terror. "I know, baby, I know," Jae-Min whispered, trying to comfort her while tracking Sang-woo's position. "Just a little longer." "Northeast exit clear," Min-ho reported. "We have Amahle. She's safe." "Boss, get out of there." But Jae-Min couldn't move. Sang-woo had circled around, cut off his escape route. His brother stepped into view, gun raised. "It didn't have to be like this," Sang-woo said. "We could have ruled together." "You tortured the woman I love." Jae-Min's voice shook with barely contained rage. "You threatened my child. There's no world where we coexist." "Then I guess this is goodbye, little brother." The gunshot echoed. But it wasn't Sang-woo who fired. Jae-Min watched in shock as his brother stumbled forward, a red stain spreading across his chest. Behind him stood their father, Kim Tae-jin, holding a smoking pistol. "No one threatens my grandchild," the old man said quietly. Sang-woo collapsed. Jae-Min didn't wait to see if he'd survive. He ran, Zuri crying against him, out the northeast exit where Min-ho waited with a vehicle. They peeled out into the night, leaving the chaos behind. At a safe location 20 minutes away, Amahle was waiting. She stood in the doorway of a small house, wrapped in a blanket someone had given her, shaking with shock and relief. The moment she saw Jae-Min step out of the vehicle carrying Zuri, she broke. Sobs racked her body as she stumbled toward them. Jae-Min met her halfway. For a moment, they just stood there, the three of them, Zuri between them, crying together in the cold night air. "I'm sorry," Amahle choked out. "I'm so sorry. I wanted to tell you. When I found out I was pregnant, I tried. But he found me. He said he'd kill you if I didn't disappear. He said he'd kill our baby. I had to run. I had to hide." "I know." Jae-Min shifted Zuri so he could cup Amahle's face with one hand. "I know. None of this is your fault. I've been running for 3 years. Different cities. Different names. He always found me. Always." Her voice broke. "After Zuri was born, I knew I couldn't keep her safe anymore. I had to bring her to you, even if it meant leading them to you. Even if it meant you'd hate me." "Hate you?" Jae-Min's voice was hoarse. "Amahle, I never stopped loving you. Not for 1 second of the last 3 years. I thought you left because of what I am. What I do. I thought I'd lost you forever. Never." She touched his face, her fingers trembling. "I loved you then. I love you now. I love you enough to have sacrificed everything to keep you and our daughter alive." Zuri, as if sensing the moment, stopped crying. Her tiny hand reached out, grabbed Amahle's finger. Mother and daughter looked at each other for the first time since birth. Amahle's tears came harder. "Hi, baby," she whispered. "Hi, my beautiful Zuri. I'm your mama. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there. I'm so sorry." Hannah appeared in the doorway, wiping her own tears. "Come inside. All of you. You're safe here." The next hours were surreal. Doctors examined Amahle, treated her injuries, confirmed she'd be okay physically. Emotionally was another story. She couldn't stop touching Zuri, couldn't stop apologizing, couldn't stop looking at Jae-Min like she expected him to vanish. "I'm real," he told her softly, sitting beside her on the couch while Zuri slept between them. "I'm here. We're all here." "What about your brother?" "Alive. In custody. My father shot him, but not to kill. He'll stand trial within our organization." Amahle's eyes widened. "Your father saved us? Turns out even monsters have limits." Jae-Min's smile was bitter. "Who knew? And the iron serpents." Without Sangwoo's backing, they've agreed to peace terms. It's over, Amahle. Really over. She leaned against him, exhausted. What happens now?
Now.
Jae-Min looked down at their daughter, then at the woman who'd endured hell for their family. Now we figure out how to be together. Really together. No running. No hiding. No criminal empires tearing us apart. You'd give it up? The organization. For you? For her? He touched Zuri's soft hair. In a heartbeat. Jae-Min, that's your whole life.
No.
He turned to face her fully. You're my whole life. You and Zuri. The organization is just business. Blood and violence and power. But this? He gestured to the three of them. This is real. This is worth fighting for. Worth changing for. Amahle kissed him then. Soft and gentle and full of 3 years of longing. When they pulled apart, both were crying. I want normal, she whispered. I want to wake up without fear. I want to watch our daughter grow up. I want to hold your hand in public without wondering who's watching. Can we have that? We can try. And Jae-Min meant it. Over the next 3 weeks, Jae-Min systematically dismantled his criminal empire. He negotiated exits, paid off debts, transferred operations to trusted lieutenants who'd run things legitimately. Minho took over the import business, now dealing in legal goods. Cho started a cybersecurity firm. Others found their own paths. His father watched it all with something like respect. You're stronger than I gave you credit for, the old man said during their final meeting. I'm just tired of the blood. Jae-Min held Zuri, who was now healthy and happy, smiling at her grandfather despite everything. She deserves better than this legacy. She does. Kim Tae-jin reached out, touched his granddaughter's cheek. They both do. It wasn't forgiveness. Jae-Min wasn't sure he'd ever fully forgive his father. But it was understanding. And maybe, eventually that would be enough. Amahle recovered slowly. Physical scars healed faster than emotional ones. She'd wake up screaming some nights, trapped in memories of captivity. Jae-Min would hold her through it, reminding her she was safe. That Sangwoo was in prison, facing charges that would keep him locked away forever. That no one was coming for her anymore. They moved to Jeju Island, a house overlooking the ocean, far from Seoul, far from the life they'd both left behind. Amahle enrolled in online courses, working toward the degree she'd abandoned years ago. Jae-Min learned to be still, to enjoy quiet mornings with his daughter, to cook breakfast while Amahle sang to Zuri in Swahili. Normal wasn't easy. Some days were hard. Amahle would see a black sedan and panic. Jae-Min would wake up reaching for a gun that wasn't there anymore. But they worked through it. Together. 6 months after that night in Daegu, they were married. A small ceremony on the beach. Just Hannah, Minho, a few close friends. Zuri wore a white dress and giggled through the entire thing. When Jae-Min kissed his bride, waves crashing behind them, he finally understood what peace felt like. I love you, Amahle whispered against his lips. Thank you for finding me, for fighting for us. Always, he promised, for the rest of my life. That night, after the guests had left and Zuri was asleep in her crib, they stood on their balcony, overlooking the ocean. Amahle leaned against Jae-Min, his arms wrapped around her, both watching the stars. Do you miss it? She asked. The power, the respect. Sometimes, he admitted. But then I come home to you too, and I remember what real power is. It's not fear or violence. It's this. Having someone to hold. Someone who holds you back. Someone worth being better for. You're a romantic. Who knew? Only for you. She turned in his arms, kissed him deeply. Build a life with me, Jae-Min. A real one. With school plays and birthday parties and boring weekends.
Can you do that?
I can try. He smiled. I'm pretty sure I'll be terrible at boring. You'll learn. She laughed softly, the sound like music after years of silence. We both will.
Inside, Zuri started to cry.
Not the terrified wails from that night in Daegu, but the normal fussing of a baby who wanted attention. They both moved toward her room, Amahle getting there first. She lifted their daughter, and Jae-Min watched from the doorway as mother and child settled into the rocking chair. He'd assembled himself, cursing at the instructions in 3 languages. "Tell her the story," Amahle said, looking at him with those eyes that still made his heart skip. "She should know where she comes from." Jae-Min sat on the floor beside them, one hand on Amahle's knee, the other stroking Zuri's tiny foot. Once upon a time, there was a man who thought he knew everything about the world. He thought power meant strength, and strength meant never showing weakness. Then he met a woman who taught him he was wrong about everything. Amahle smiled. "That's not how fairy tales start. It's how ours does." He looked up at her. She was brilliant and fierce and didn't fear him, even though everyone else did. She challenged him, made him laugh, made him want to be someone worthy of her smile. And when she disappeared, he realized he'd never actually been alive before meeting her. He'd just been existing. Zuri's eyes were drooping, but she seemed to be listening, her small face serious. The woman had to run because bad people wanted to hurt the one she loved. "She was so brave, Zuri. Your mother was so incredibly brave. She kept you safe when no one else could. She made the hardest choice anyone can make, and she did it because she loved us more than she loved being with us." Tears slid down Amahle's cheeks. "Jae-Min, it's true. And one day, when Zuri's old enough to understand, she needs to know that. She needs to know her mother is a warrior." He stood, kissed the top of Zuri's head, then kissed Amahle. And her father was just smart enough to recognize the best thing that ever happened to him. After Zuri fell asleep, they carried her back to the crib. Jae-Min tucked the blanket around her, the same pink blanket she'd been wrapped in that night at the port. Amahle had washed it a dozen times, but she refused to throw it away. "It's part of her story," she'd said. They retreated to their own bedroom, exhausted but content. Amahle changed into one of Jae-Min's old shirts, something that had become her habit. He loved seeing her in his clothes, this small claim of belonging. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if I hadn't gone to that port that night?" Jae-Min asked, lying beside her in the dark. "Every day." Her voice was quiet. "I almost didn't leave her there. I stood at that container for an hour, crying, holding her, trying to convince myself there was another way." "Why that location? How did you even know I'd be there?" "I still had contacts from when we were together. People who owed me favors. I found out about the exchange, and I knew you'd never miss it. It was too big, too important. I thought if I could just get Zuri to you, if I could trust you with that one thing, maybe both of you would be safe. It was incredibly risky. I was out of options." She rolled to face him, her hand finding his in the darkness. "Sang-woo had found me again in Daegu. I'd fought him off, but I was hurt, and I knew I couldn't run anymore. Not with a baby. She deserved better than a life on the run. She deserved her father. Even though you knew what I was? What I did? I always knew who you were, Jae-Min. The good and the bad. The violence and the gentleness. You think I didn't see how you protected the people who worked for you? How you refused certain jobs because they crossed lines even you wouldn't cross. You're not the monster you think you are." He pulled her closer, breathing in the scent of her hair, something floral from the shampoo she liked. "I wanted to be better for you. I still do. You are better. Look at this life we're building. Look at how you hold our daughter. That's not the man you used to be. That's the man you were always capable of becoming." They fell silent, just holding each other. Outside, waves crashed against the shore in an eternal rhythm. Inside, their daughter slept peacefully, unaware of the sacrifices and pain that had brought them all to this moment. "Amahle, marry me again." She laughed softly. "We just got married 6 months ago." "I know, but that was quick. Small. I want to do it right this time. I want your family there. Your friends from South Africa. I want everyone who loves you to see me promise in front of them that I'll spend every day for the rest of my life earning the gift of being your husband." She pulled back to look at him, even in the darkness. "Are you serious?" "Completely. Your mother deserves to see her daughter married properly. Your sisters should be there. Everyone who worried about you when you disappeared, everyone who thought they'd never see you happy again, they should witness this. Jae-Min, that's a lot of people. And expensive. And complicated. I don't care. You deserve it. Zuri deserves to see her parents celebrate their love surrounded by family. What do you say? She kissed him, deep and slow and full of promise.
Yes.
Always yes with you. The next morning, Jae-Min woke to find Zuri's crib empty. Panic shot through him for just a moment before he heard voices from the kitchen. He found Amahle dancing slowly around the room, Zuri in her arms, both of them bathed in morning sunlight streaming through the windows. Amahle was singing softly in Kosa, her native language, and Zuri was watching her mother's face with complete devotion. Good morning, Jae-Min said from the doorway. Amahle turned, her smile radiant. Look who woke up happy today. I think she's finally settling in. Jae-Min approached, kissed his daughter's forehead, then his wife's lips. She knows she's safe now. We all are. I called my mother this morning, told her about the wedding plans. Amahle's eyes sparkled. She cried for 10 minutes straight. Then she started planning. I think we're going to have the biggest celebration Jeju Island has ever seen.
Good.
You deserve that and more. The months that followed were filled with joy Jae-Min had never imagined possible. They visited South Africa so Amahle's family could meet Zuri. Her mother, a formidable woman named Thandai, had held Jae-Min at arm's length initially, studying him with suspicious eyes. You're the man who got my daughter mixed up in criminal life? She'd said in accented but perfect English. Yes, ma'am. And I'm the man who's spent every day since trying to be worthy of her love. Thandai had considered this, then looked at how Amahle watched Jae-Min, how Zuri reached for her father constantly, how the three of them moved together like a unit. Her face had softened. My daughter chose you. That's enough for me. But if you hurt her again, criminal empire or not, I will end you. I'd expect nothing less. They'd ended up friends. Thandai taught Jae-Min traditional Kosa dishes. He taught her Korean badly, making her laugh at his pronunciation. Amahle's sisters fell in love with Zuri, fighting over who got to hold her. It was loud and chaotic, and everything a family should be. Back in Korea, preparations for the second wedding intensified. This time it wouldn't be small. Amahle wanted traditional Korean elements mixed with African traditions. They'd have a hanbok ceremony, then change into traditional Kosa attire. 2 cultures, 2 families, 1 love. Hannah threw herself into planning with frightening efficiency. If we're doing this, we're doing it right, she declared, pulling out binders full of notes. I've been waiting for you to settle down for years. Let me have this. Minho helped with security because old habits died hard. You're not technically in the business anymore, he said, but you still have enemies. We're checking every guest, every vendor, every flower delivery. Is that necessary? Amahle asked. For my peace of mind? Absolutely. Jae-Min squeezed her hand. I'm not taking any chances with you or Zuri. The day before the wedding, Jae-Min's father requested a private meeting. They met at a tea house in Seoul, neutral ground. Kim Tae-jin looked older now, the weight of his sins finally showing. I won't be at the wedding, he said without preamble. I wasn't sure if you would be. It's not my place. I've caused your family enough pain. The old man poured tea with steady hands. But I wanted to give you this before you start your new life. He slid an envelope across the table. Inside were documents, property deeds, bank accounts, all transferred to Jae-Min's name with provisions that everything would go to Zuri if anything happened to him. This is everything I own, his father said. Legitimate holdings. No blood money. I've been cleaning my assets for months. It's yours. For your daughter's future. Jae-Min stared at the papers, overwhelmed. Father, I can't. You can and you will. It's the only thing I can do to make amends. I failed you as a father. I destroyed your life because I was too proud to see my sons as people rather than chess pieces. But I won't fail Zuri. She deserves better than this family's legacy. She'll have it. Jae-Min's voice was rough. I'm making sure of that. I know you will. You're a better man than I ever was. Kim Tae-jin stood to leave, then paused. Sang-woo asked to see you. He's in prison, awaiting sentencing. He says he has something to tell you. Something important. I have nothing to say to him. Understood. But the offer stands if you change your mind. His father bowed slightly, a gesture of respect, then walked away. Jae-Min sat alone for a long time, staring at the documents that represented a fortune. Legitimate money. Clean money. His daughter's inheritance, untainted by violence. That evening, he told Amahle about the meeting. She listened quietly, Zuri playing on the floor between them with colorful blocks. "Are you going to see Sangwoo?" she asked finally. "Do you want me to? I want you to have closure. Whatever that looks like for you." She took his hand. "He can't hurt us anymore. Maybe hearing what he has to say will help you move forward. You're more forgiving than I am." "I'm not forgiving him. I'll never forgive what he did to us. But I don't want him to have power over our happiness anymore. Even the power of unfinished business." The next day, hours before the wedding, Jae-Min drove to the prison. The facility was maximum security, all concrete and steel. Sangwoo looked smaller somehow, diminished by the orange jumpsuit and the chains. His once proud bearing was gone, replaced by something hollow. They sat across from each other in a private room, armed guards outside. "You came," Sangwoo said. "You have 5 minutes." His brother nodded, accepting the limitation. "I wanted to tell you I'm sorry. I know it doesn't mean anything. I know it doesn't change what I did. But I need to say it."
Why?
"Guilty conscience." Something like that. Sangwoo's smile was bitter. "Prison gives you time to think.
To really see yourself.
I destroyed everything because I couldn't accept that father chose you. But he chose correctly. You were always the better man, the better leader. I just couldn't see it through my jealousy. You tortured Amahle for 3 years. I know. That's the part one can't reconcile. When I took her initially, I thought I was protecting the family from an outsider. But she was never the enemy. I was. My ego. My rage. I turned myself into exactly what I accused her of being, a threat to everything you built." Jae-Min said nothing. There was nothing to say. "Your daughter is beautiful," Sangwoo continued. "I saw pictures. She has your eyes. I hope she never knows what kind of man her uncle is. I hope you tell her I died before she was born. She'll know the truth when she's old enough to understand it. I won't lie to my child." "Fair enough." Sangwoo leaned back. "I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that what you're building, that family you're creating, it's worth everything you gave up. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." "Was that all?" "One more thing. There's a safety deposit box. Bank of Seoul, downtown branch. Box 472. The key is with my lawyer. Inside is everything about Mother. Her real story. Who she was before Father. Why she left. I think you deserve to know." Jae-Min froze. Their mother was a ghost in their family history, someone who disappeared when they were children. His father never spoke of her. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because you're about to be a husband again. A father. You should know where you really come from. Who you really are. It might help." Sangwoo stood. "Congratulations on your wedding, little brother. Be happy. For both of us." The guards led him away. Jae-Min sat alone, processing the conversation. Forgiveness?
No.
Understanding? Maybe. Closure? He wasn't sure such a thing existed for pain this deep. But Sangwoo was right about one thing. The family Jae-Min was building deserved his full attention, not the ghosts of the past. He drove back to Jeju Island, where Amahle was getting ready for the ceremony. The house was chaos. Her sisters doing makeup, his cousins arguing about flower arrangements, Hannah directing everyone like a general commanding troops. Amahle sat in the center of it all, Zuri on her lap, looking radiant in a traditional hanbok. The silk was deep red with gold embroidery, her hair swept up elegantly. When she saw him, her face lit up. "You're back. How did it go?" "It went. I'll tell you later. Right now, I just want to look at you." He knelt beside them. "You're stunning. You haven't seen the Kosa dress yet. Wait until after the ceremony." "I can't wait for any of it." Can't wait to call you my wife in front of everyone who matters. Zuri reached for him, babbling happily. Jae-Min took her, kissing her chubby cheeks. And you, little one, are going to be the star of this whole event. Everyone's going to want to hold you. Over my dead body, Amahle laughed. She's staying with us. I'm not spending my wedding chasing her around the venue. The ceremony was everything they dreamed. Held on a cliff overlooking the ocean, the setting sun painting everything gold and orange. Amahle's family filled one side, traditional Kosa clothing creating a stunning display of color and pattern. Jae-Min's people filled the other, a mix of legitimate business associates and the few former colleagues he still trusted. As Amahle walked down the makeshift aisle, Zuri in her mother's arms because neither of them wanted to be separated, Jae-Min felt tears slide down his face. He didn't hide them. Everyone present had earned the right to see this moment, to witness the vulnerability of a man who'd once ruled through fear, now trembling with joy. The ceremony blended Korean and Kosa traditions. They performed the traditional Korean bows. They jumped the broom, an African tradition Amahle's grandmother insisted on. They spoke vows in 3 languages, English, Korean, and Kosa, promising to love, honor, and protect each other through whatever came next. When the officiant said, "You may kiss your bride," Jae-Min kissed Amahle like she was the air he needed to breathe. The crowd erupted in cheers. Zuri, caught between them, giggled and clapped her tiny hands. The reception lasted late into the night. There was dancing, traditional Korean, traditional African, and modern music that got everyone on their feet. There were speeches that made people laugh and cry. Minho told embarrassing stories about Jae-Min's attempts to learn to cook. Amahle's sisters shared tales of her childhood rebelliousness that made her blush. Did you really climb onto the school roof to protest longer lunch periods? Jae-Min asked, delighted. I was 12 and very passionate about social justice, Amahle defended, laughing. Even if my priorities were questionable. As midnight approached, they snuck away from the party. Just the 3 of them. They walked down to the beach, Amahle in her Kosa dress now, Jae-Min having shed his formal jacket, Zuri sleeping against his shoulder. This is perfect, Amahle whispered, leaning against him as waves lapped at their feet. It really is. Jae-Min kissed the top of her head. Thank you for not giving up on us. For fighting to stay alive. For trusting me with our daughter. Thank you for finding me. For becoming the man I always knew you could be. For loving us enough to change everything. They stood there for a long time, 3 souls who'd found their way through darkness into light, listening to the ocean and holding each other like they'd never let go. Because they wouldn't. Not ever again. And somewhere in the beautiful chaos of their imperfect, passionate, deeply human love story, they found something most people spend their whole lives searching for. They found home. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button. Drop a comment telling me what moment got you the most. And subscribe because Jae-Min, Amahle, and Zuri's journey isn't over. Their new life is just beginning, and trust me, you'll want to see what comes next. Real love isn't perfect, but it's worth fighting for. These 3 proved that. Now, go tell someone you love them. Life's too short for anything less. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next.